And welcome again to another edition of Team Talk on a very cold evening in Royal Wootton, Bassett. But today we have somebody extra special for you. So up to now we've had players, but tonight we're going to take you behind the scenes with a man who's been here since 1993. He's been coaching for 22 years. That's a lot of years of coaching. He's been dedicated to the Colts for the last 8 years. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you, Mr. Mark Roshier? You're coaching.
Yeah. Hands up, fingers pointing.
You need to tell I don't play rugby.
No,
but
it doesn't show, honest. I've watched all the videos. Yeah. You're more than welcome, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Do you know what? Them Colts are probably taller and bigger than me, so I'm all right. I'll stay in the cold changing room.
Yeah, don't blame you.
Brilliant, but thank you for joining me, Mark.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting.
So we thought it'd be great to get you in, Mark, because again, you know, the whole point in this team talk is to look at players and then go behind the scenes. And you're a man who oozes Royal Wootton Bassett Rugby Club through the veins, I'm told.
Yeah. Number of years playing, coaching, parent, both boys playing, you know, wife supports, everything else, yeah. So we are a rugby family.
Wow. There's no getting away from it.
There's no getting away from it. And when we do get away with it, we go and watch rugby. So, yeah.
You just bleed rugby through the veins.
I do. Some golf slips in there occasionally.
Good.
But that's my release.
Good. So give the viewer a little bit of background on you then, Mark. I mean, as I said, you've been here since 1993. So what's your actual role behind the scenes?
So I have two hats. I have the head coach of the Colts, so that's an under-17s and under-18s, and I'm also the coaching coordinator for the club. So I look after making sure all the coaches are DBS, safeguard qualified. I make sure that all coaches are qualified as per our coaching pathway as well as our player pathway, and I'm there for people to discuss coaching things, help them with courses, bring coaches in if necessary, relay messages that Mr. Lowe, the boss, has passed down to me. And coaching is really my main job here, and I've been doing it now 8 years. I coached Chris, my eldest son, from the age of five. I joined the club with Rob Bloxham. We got dragged in, as dads do. We got dragged in to help, and we took the boys up to all the way through. And then I dropped back to coach Michael all the way through. And then I was coaching with Gary Durrar, and Alan asked us both if we would be prepared to take on the Colts.
Wow.
8 years ago. 8 years ago, you know, and to this day, Gary decided to step down. He went into the senior coaching, and I decided to stay with no boys in the age group, which makes life so much more easier. Because I haven't got to worry about my son not being selected, or how did my son get on today. All that is, you know, that's up to the other coaches. But yeah, it's a little bit more easy, and I can talk to people differently. You know, I haven't got to worry about, my son did Chris or did Michael get that amount of game time, or I can explain a little bit more about what we're trying to do within the Colts. So yeah, it's good. I enjoy it. I wouldn't do it unless I
can imagine.
Yeah.
So you find it's easier wearing that coach hat then?
Yeah, I find the coaching, and you know, it has had a big impact in my work. Where I work nationwide, I do use the coaching techniques that I've been taught by Alan and other coaches as well, and you know, and peers, and just not so much the passing, the kicking and things like that, but how to talk to people differently. You know, sometimes you ask a lot more, like in your profession, you're trying to get the person, trying to get more out of the person, like you're doing tonight. You'll come back with a question, or how would you do this?
I do.
And absolutely, and I think that's the way we learn, and that's the way we understand more about the person, and more about yourself as well, of how you answer those questions. And you know, one of the things to do, encourage the boys to do, is be truthful. if they've got problems, they can come and talk to us. And I'm hoping that that's what we do with all the boys, that they have the ability. They're not frightened of saying, look, I've got some problems, and we have got boys that, we're not an academy, we're not an elite. We've got boys that will go to university, we've got boys that will do apprenticeships, we've got boys that won't get an apprenticeship, but we're all different, and that's another thing. It's hard, but nice. They're different skill levels, mentally, physically, but we're here for them, and we don't say no to anybody. Everybody is welcome, and throughout 8 years of coaching, not one person has been told to go away. So, and nothing better than seeing the boys out here on a I know Sam's done a fantastic job with the programs, but seeing those asterisks next to Colts or both first and seconds, it is a sort of real sort of bit of pride as well to say, actually, I coached all of them in some shape or form. I've coached and had something to do with their career path for the Bassett at the moment, and there's an abundance more coming through as well, which is what we're looking for. Alan sets me a task at the beginning of the year that says we really need some second rows, or we need some wingers. What have you got coming through? And COVID's affected everybody in some shape or form. But I think the sport got hit big time, and we were probably at our best place we were prior to the year leading up to COVID. We were probably in our best place. We knew where all the coaches were. We knew everything that was going on, and we were promoting players very early into senior rugby. But with COVID and the first team getting promoted to where the level that they're at, the big gap now between when people like Eli, Josh McCaverty, when they were 17 and moved into the first team, we were only in 7 counties. We weren't, that's 2 leagues. We're now 2 leagues higher than that level, and we just can't produce those players, to be at that high level anymore. What we have to do is we change the tap now, and Alan and I have had various meetings over the last couple of months now, trying to get us back to how we were, and that is purely promote. We're just starting to promote players from Colts into senior rugby, where 2 years ago we were doing it 4s and 5s at a time sort of thing. Where now at the moment we've gone back to where we started from to make sure processes, because there's lots more processes now in place with the RFU and Dorset and Wilts. You need to start, you need to have this permission, you need that permission. So we needed to make sure, and different rules up till January you had to be 18, where now the rules changed as of 1st of January. They went back to being 17. Wow. So right. So you can be 17 to play senior rugby, but you can't play in the front row.
Right. For what reason?
Size, power, you name all of the above. So there are some exceptions. If you've got a couple of lads in Bath or Gloucester academies, we might be able to get a dispensation from the RFU to allow them to play up. But we don't normally promote. But there's no reasons why they still can't play. We do give them chances of playing in different positions and things like that. So it's a good opportunity. And the biggest thing here is because everyone says, well, what does everybody see? And it might have been one of the questions on your list to ask, but how do you know that it's successful? Well, you only need to look at the program, the boys that we've got. We're averaging over 30 training on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They come back and they come back for more. So we're in a really good place. We really are. And everybody knows where we are, and everybody appreciates it as well, and that's what's nice. Come up on a Saturday for VPs. What Colts we got coming through? Who should we need? Well, we've got a few Colts playing in the 2s today. Or we've got a lad, Liam Seller, played his first game for the first team last weekend at home, scored a try. That was his first appearance. So we do produce them, and we're not frightened. And that's the thing. That's the most enjoying thing, is we're not frightened of saying, he's just a Colt. He's only 17. He's only 18. We'll have a look. We'll put him in the environment. See how they get on. We do that via training. So they're introduced to training on Tuesdays and Thursdays with the seniors. They get that confidence, and then we might turn around and say, "Are you available Saturday? Could you go on the bench?" And then they get a start, and the feedback from the other coaches, from myself, from the player himself. How did you do? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Or no, there's none of my mates around. I didn't really enjoy it. Okay, so he played well. All right, so we need to think a little bit more differently for each player. We might need to bring him and another up so that he knows he's got someone to talk to. Because it is a scary, we all know it's scary when you go into a different environment, and we try to break that difficulty down. And we do try and make sure that Thursday nights is sausage and chip night.
Oh, is it? I better put that in the diary.
It is.
Fantastic, because even just there, what you're saying, the passion's there. Everything that the club look for in a person, I guess, is a guiding light and support to the Colts and everything else. It's here in abundance.
I hope so. Yeah.
Has that always been the case, though? Has rugby changed? I mean, again, you're a man who's been in and around the game for a long time. Has that changed just the way, the mindset towards rugby has changed?
I don't think the mindset's changed towards rugby. I think COVID's brought more to the forefront. So one question might be, how do I know whether we've got good players or bad? I'm not interested. I don't care, because that's not the issue. That's not my concern. My concern is, are they all right? Are they safe? Are they all right? Are they okay? Do they have any issues? And I think everybody blames COVID for quite a lot, because a lot of the things that come to people's well-being, things like that, have come to a forefront. At work, I look after a team of 30, and it's my number one directive now for my senior management to look after people's well-being. It's your job. Part of your job is people's well-being, and that's the number one thing. Coaching the actual rugby skills has taken a back seat a little bit more. Yeah. We have to put arms around players. And I think that's the scary part for a lot. It's not scary for me, because I've been in that environment with the kids and being able to sit down and talk to them and put an arm, not necessarily a physical arm around them, but be there. Be there if they need someone to talk to, and made it quite clear. Where I think if you've not had that I wouldn't say training, but if you've not experienced it, it's very hard to actually to put that arm around players. But I find it quite easy to be able to do that and talk quite openly with players, and I take that knowledge that I've got and I apply that into my work ethic as well. But I think that's the bit that's changed for me.
Right.
The rugby side, the support side, the passion. We're all worried about. When Fred doesn't come training, we're now worried. Is Fred all right? Yeah. We have a rule in the Colts: if you're not training, you need to let us know. And we don't get a message, so straight away, as soon as I get home, one of us or one of the coaches is messaging Fred to say, "You weren't training tonight. Everything all right?" Yeah. Sorry, missed the phone. And they don't realise that we're worried about them, but are they worried about us? And that's what we're trying to say to them now, because. My main job is to get those players transitioned into senior rugby. They won't have mum and dad anymore. They'll be on their own. They'll be driving their own cars, their own motorbikes, getting lifts with mates, drinking alcohol, girls, etc. But I'm trying to get them ready to go into senior rugby training. So trying to break those apron strings very early on by saying, I don't communicate match day experience. I don't communicate where you need to be to parents anymore. It's straight to the players, because when they move into Alan's world, that's all they get. They get a text message that says answer yes or no, and if they don't answer, they don't play. It's as simple as that. So we try and get them ready that way as well, and not necessarily the way we talk to them, but we get the match day is the same experience. The training is the same as what the seniors do. So when they do get that chance to go and train with the seniors, It's just water off a duck's back. They understand it all, and I think that's the difference now. We are looking at what, especially here, we are looking at what we've got coming up. Perhaps we did it a lot more in the league that we were in at the time 8 years ago. We planned ahead for 8 years. We're now planning slightly differently purely because of the level. And that's what it boils down to is the success of the first team really ripples through the whole club. I don't care what anybody else says. It's not, the club isn't all about the first team, but it's what the first team does. The first, we got the new gym. There's nothing like it actually, probably anywhere in the UK. Bath Rugby have been here having a look at it, and then probably be a few other big named teams that would be interested in using the facility. And that's just one. Moving to back now, I played rugby at Stoneover Lane, and I knew what the muddy corner was like. You don't get muddy corners in here, and then you only need to come up here on a Wednesday afternoon and you see the guys cutting the grass. And I used to play rugby with them, or I was coached by some of them, and it's such a family orientated volunteer club.
What is it about the Colts that keeps them wanting to come back for more?
Good question.
Thank you.
I think it's the mix of age groups. We've got 18s and 17s, but because we've now got the 16s involved, because we noticed that there was a transition, we sorted out the transition from 18s into seniors. We were trying to work out why the drop off for 16, so we got the 16s involved. So now we're an 18, 17s and 16s. So very early on, it's a bit like the seniors. It's, a young player knows the oldest player, and we sit down and we train together. We sit down and we chat together. We do all the training in the gyms together. So we're always together. We don't play competitive league rugby. We decided to withdraw from the leagues a number of years ago so that we could fully concentrate on player development, and that's mentally and positional and physical now with the new gym facilities. But for me, I think that's why they come back, is because there's such a mixed bag. They're an enjoyment to be with as well, for us coaches as well. There's stack and the banter. They chuck banter back at us, So that's the thing I think the Colts promote themselves, but you need to come and experience to see it. You can't see it from the outside in. You can only see how close a group they are, and they're not close to ignore new players. They welcome. They're probably the three age groups I've got at the moment are probably the most welcome age group. I think Sam and Sue have got Jackson, and I think if you asked him a question, he'd say, I know all the Colts now. They all welcome me. Yeah, we have a bit of banter and we have our little square ups, little issues, little cussing and going on. But I think they all feel comfortable now. And I think that's what it is. It's not comfortable so I don't need to learn how to play rugby. It's comfortable for them. They can come. They're not forced to come back. They can come and enjoy it. We enjoy it. We've got a smile on our face. They've actually got a smile on their face, and they're encouraging their mates. Now we've picked up probably 7 new players this year.
Wow.
So and that isn't pushing first team, where the first team is, or where the club is, or what the gym is at the moment. That's purely by them seeing that what we're doing, that we're not playing in the leagues. I get game time. I get to play. I get to train. And it's there for them.
Do you also think that's a draw for a Colt, is the fact that they know if they work hard enough that they could be sat in this changing room in a first team shirt?
It's definitely the carrot we can wave in front of people now, where we can say, here's the like we said earlier, here's the programme. Look, 90% of today's first team are ex-Colts, 80% of the second team are ex-Colts. Oh, well, I know him, and I know him, and I know him. Yeah, there you go. So you can, and I think because they see it, and they know who are the Colts, and a lot of the boys, Charlie Hicks, Eli, Chris, Michael, few of the others come and talk to the Colts, and they do train. They come and train with us, and Alan comes over with Floydie and Higgy. A few others come over and coach with the Colts. So they get to see it. They see it. You need to experience it, and I'm sure. I don't think we've had anybody that's turned up and not come back.
Wow. And everything I was going to ask, you've answered it in there somewhere. But no, not at all, because, do you know, this is the point in this, Mark, why I wanted to do this, is because when I first stepped here around COVID time, there's just a feeling here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about the rugby, it's about development of players, obviously, but as you said many a time there, you're developing the person. You know, the well-being, developing their life skills. You know, it can all be metaphorically in rugby, but sport is a great metaphor for life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just think the passion, you know, you show there and everything, I think is absolutely incredible, Mark.
We're trying to get the boys into that, you know, we want them to be want to play for Royal Wootton Bassett. We want them, everyone that, you know, university used to be a big draw. You know, you look at 6-7 years ago, 99% of the Colts disappeared to university because that's what people did. But then we got so many not wanting to go to university because of the debt and everything else. And it's like, crikey, how do we manage that group that don't go to university? Is quite easy to manage because we can just say you're playing senior rugby. But what do we do with those guys that go to university? How do we deal with them? And they were all the questions that we chucked on, myself and Gary Durar, we chucked on the table and said, how do we deal with these lads that go? So we created a little Facebook group, we kept in touch, we introduced, we reinstated the old father and son's Boxing Day game, and we made it a Colts reunion type game. And that's what we're trying to do, is get those players that go off, disappear for how many years, and then decide to come back. But yeah, we've got really good, as I said, volunteers, but the coaches that we've got now, some of them are ex-players, some of them have learned the game, but we've got every different type. But if it wasn't for the coaches, for the volunteers, for our sponsors, our media, Sam's done an absolute fantastic job with the media side. Not only is the programs, but it's the Facebook, the roving reporters. It's great. Everyone, who's doing it this week? And I was sat in Northampton, in Franklin's Gardens on Saturday. I wasn't worried about Northampton. I was more worried about the first team were doing. And I was. I was on watching the WhatsApp. How's the first team doing? I don't know. Saints have just scored. Oh yeah, right, okay. Yeah. And I was watching the Twitter, the WhatsApp. The
WhatsApp,
It's really good at what we're doing.
Yeah. I caught myself doing the same on the WhatsApp and Bassett. I think it was when Scott Douglas scored a try. Similar. No, like you say, it's something magical at this place, isn't it?
It is special. It is special. Yeah.
Good. Well, I think, Mark, you've answered in abundance what the questions I had, but also a million other things, Mark.
Cool.
And
thank you.
I think the club are lucky to have somebody like you.
I think I'm lucky to have a club this level, this special, where a number of years here playing and putting something back. It's something that I want to do.
Let me just put it in a nutshell then. For somebody who hasn't experienced Wootton Bassett club, and I don't just use the rugby, I mean everything else we've said, that whole culture, everything here. What is it about this club? Just put it in a sentence. What is it about this club?
I don't think you can put it into words, but I think you can put it into vision. If you come up here on a Sunday when the minis are here, that's what this club's all about. Hundreds of kids, hundreds of parents, sausage baps going, bacon baps going, the bar's open, teas, coffee. First team are waking up at 10, 11 o'clock, coming to pick the cars up because they've had a long journey, they've had a few beers and whatever, and they come out and they stand up and watch, and they're seeing it, and you can start seeing some of the committee members. Alan's always about, but you'll get Dave Floyd's about, you'll get a number of people come up, and it's the vision more than the words. You can just stand there and look, and you can just say, there's something special here.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.